In the remote high-altitude valley, a heavy snowstorm in April has come from nowhere. Drolma's family are planning to move their animals up to summer pastures. Now they will have to stay put until the snow is gone. Every day, Drolma and her younger sister normally ride a motorcycle up to where their yaks are grazing. Today, however, the snow on the ground is too thick. After several failed attempts, she decides to walk up the mountain instead. It's not yet noon, and the snow is getting heavier. Drolma decides to drive the yaks home earlier than planned. Drolma uses a traditional slingshot to signal to straying yaks that it's time to rejoin the herd and head home. She's a bit anxious. A cow is to give birth at home today. It's a big event for a herding family. She must hurry back to help her mother. Yushu Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture, where Drolma's family live, is one of the core areas of Sanjiangyuan, a region of Qinghai province containing the headwaters of the Lancang, Yangtze and Yellow rivers. Surrounded by mountains and valleys, the altitude here ranges between 4,000 and 5,000 meters above sea level. The weather is unpredictable, and the annual average temperature is less than 1 degree Celsius. Herdsmen depend on yaks for their daily needs. For food, yaks provide meat, milk and butter. For clothing and tents, yaks provide hides and wool. For fuel, yaks provide dung. In mountainous areas, yaks are also good beasts of burden. For a herding family like Drolma's, they are not only valuable property, but also close family members. By the time Drolma arrives home with the herd, her mother and sister have already prepared food for the yaks. The day's grazing time has been shortened by the snow, so the animals will need supplements. Several calves born this year need special care as they are encountering snow for the first time. The cow in labor, of course, is now at the center of the family's attention. When the calf is finally born, Drolma's mother moves in to help. She picks up the baby and leads its weakened mother back to the pen. In the harsh environment of Sanjiangyuan, the reproduction and survival rates of animals aren't high. In particular, calves born in bad weather must be delivered and then cared for by herdsmen to survive and grow. Mount Nyampo Yutze is located in the southeastern part of Qinghai's Golog Prefecture. A rarefied landscape of peaks and lakes, the area is the watershed between the Yangtze and Yellow rivers. Shimu Lake at the foot of Mount Nyampo Yutze is also known as the Fairy Lake. In summer, melting glaciers feed mountain streams here. With lush grassland and cool weather, it's the traditional summer pasture for local herdsmen. The days are getting warmer, and the herdsmen are indeed planning to move here for the summer. But Chokpo has noticed this year's wet season is late, so it's still too early to go.
He is very
Chokpo is a production team leader in Sogruma Township. He is very familiar with national ecological and environmental protection guidelines. Herdsmen in the region change pastures twice a year. He must check in advance to ensure their timing is optimized, which he believes is the best way of care for cattle and sheep. On the day of his visit to Shimu-Tsuo, Chokpo's granddaughter is born, earlier than expected. It's his first grandchild. He's overwhelmed with joy, but it will also make the family's upcoming migration more hectic. In the evening, when the yaks and sheep return to their pens, Chokpo's wife Lunga notices a newborn calf is missing. Its mother is behaving erratically, frantic to get out of the pen.
Sanjiangyuan 같은 것은 유말이.
준비를 산 것이 나 후기 때 너산 것이 나.
아무 신데다 건강상 다스대. 때리마오지.
Chokpo drives around to look for the missing calf. When he finally sees it playing happily in a herdsman's pen, it is already getting dark. The day before they move their herd, Chokpo's family arrive at the summer pasture to set up their tent in advance. It will be their residence for the summer. Everyone is paying attention to every detail.
Ole. Ja, da нет.
After the tent and a stove inside have been set up, a gutter needs to be dug to drain rainwater. Chokpo carefully cuts into the turf, making sure not to go too deep.
Черкаянск татами штабдетен харсеш кужигдати тагати отоблон ажакск кырге чержигмыржиг мекому. Реданың ngачаки яра клизип чагжигда дип жаган жок чакыр жемсен вчера тагати жора дип вчера юкай сум жакск тисате вчера юкай суртамдар. Деми харсы хархан деми зублон шкер жок качиданы те ломага сужону бар. 서 옛날에 거리가 하는 거 거리가 자신 매니 오는 말들 구성을 차단디 년보에 쓴 거리는 그 다지 자주장 거 로르주장 거 로르주도 소다 응급시하거나 보면 셋 미시 안데 로르주시가 마요 오늘다 아이 암니 영암니가 나스카시안도 로르주도 알아는 거 나라마 요조요 오늘.
It's finally time to move to the summer pasture. Early in the morning, Chokpo's daughter and son-in-law mount horses to drive their herd to Shimu Tsuo.
그러면 이거 또 나리 이제 뭐 또 시켰어.
After his granddaughter wakes up, Chokpo and his wife take her with them and set off by car. This is the arrangement the family has agreed upon after much discussion. The yaks have to climb over mountains and wade across rivers to reach their summer grazing grounds. Year after year, the herdsmen make these seasonal trips, following nature's rhythm.
Yarsa nirginsa qarjodir ginsa nirtonsa artonsa ni susatimi qarjodo korikotondir. Wena yarsa ni tago tarza ni nana da janata ni harartonsa qarjodi wara tarsa ka kliz yonara kliz tago sachi tarsa ka yoni jigna jigni yong jen tar jengu yara jevsang yongju titondir. Machaki tandare rdota sontina 아니마 차스가 되니다디 글리즈 너콜로 체론디 글리 너콜로 체론디 영하라 과르적고 또 빨리 단디 사찬데 때 너코 체볼로 송스게 영어 스타시게 맞고 디스탑 것도 단 거리가 조충 할 건데 거리가 세르나이
At Tawo Gyeba's house, the morning starts with the low and rough calls of yaks. After a cold and humid night, a thin layer of hoarfrost has formed on the pasture, as well as on the furs of her yaks and sheep. Clean and cheap yak dung is still an important fuel for pastoral areas. Yak butter, made with fresh yak milk, meanwhile, is an essential daily food for plateau herdsmen. Tawo Gyeba's family live in Swo-He-Ching village, Xiaogongma township, in the source area of the Yellow River. Every summer, cattle and sheep are herded here for its lush grass. Fresh milk produced at this time is of the best quality, and the yak butter made from it is bright in color and sweet in taste. Yak butter is made of cream taken from fresh milk. To make it, herdsmen first warm fresh yak milk. After fermenting and filtering, it's poured into a milk separator. Tawo Gyeba has an electric milk separator. It uses centrifugal force generated by high-speed motor-driven rotation to extract the fats, or cream, from milk, replacing a traditional labor-intensive manual process. This is the product, yak cream. The cream is then repeatedly stirred, kneaded and cooled until it solidifies into butter, a process that also removes water and impurities. Freshly made butter is malleable. Herdsmen generally slap it flat for easy stacking. The whole process is very laborious, requiring patience and care. Every morning at 5 o'clock, regardless of the seasons, a strongly built man can always be seen exercising in Gyemai, the seat of Qinghai's Dalag County, which lies at 4,200 meters above sea level. His name is Pulsang.
我的偶像就是 C 罗，因为 C 罗的这种自律、这种足球的这种执着、不放弃的精神，给我一种信仰，觉得青春没有白费吧。
打门，尽量远射，远射。
Pulsang grew up close to the source of the Yellow River. His main hobbies are practicing martial arts, playing football, and going to the gym. Self-discipline is key. In addition to his daily morning exercises, he has a fixed monthly routine. On the 25th day of each month in the traditional lunar calendar, he takes yak butter to ravines outside the county to feed vultures.
秃鹫是飞翔的时候就是特别高，我有时候就是坐在那边看着这些秃鹫飞翔，就感觉自己好像就是也要飞翔起来的那种感觉，离成功很近的那种感觉。像秃鹫的话，在我们这边称之为这个是就罕见的一个，只是这个辐射性的。
The Himalayan vulture is a large bird of prey. It is native to the Himalayas and adjoining Qinghai Tibet Plateau, where it has no natural enemies. Animal carcasses are its preferred food, but when carrion is insufficient, it will also hunt living prey. In Palsang's view, therefore, feeding vultures can protect other healthy wild animals.
刚开始挺害怕的，然后我们就相处的很融洽。这个事情我也坚持了7、8年，朋友呀，还有亲人呀，他们过来退休就不来了，他们就说：“那你去帮我喂下，去做点好事吧。”
Chogyal is a 5th grader at the boarding primary school for all ethnic groups in Gardeur County. In today's math class, he is distracted because tomorrow the summer holiday begins. His father is coming to pick him up.
让他放假的时候把那个基础知识给补一下，这是一点，知道了没？然后那个作业是发的那个卷子认真的完成啊。不会的你可以在那个微信上问我，都是可以的，知道了没
Chogyal Nyama's home is in De Arwen village, Gardeur County. The Kirchu River, which runs through the village, winds its way southeast to eventually join the Yellow River. Gardeur County is recognized as the birthplace of the classic ancient epic cycle of Tibet and Greater Central Asia, the epic of King Gersar. Chogyal Nyama's mother, Tsedrong, is one of some 100 bards of the cycle active today. Under her tuition, Chogyal Nyama has been learning how to sing the epic himself. In addition to coaching him in the epic of Gersar, Chogyal Nyama's mother has also taught him to revere nature and all living things. This is also an age-old custom of the herdsman. In the second week of the summer holidays, Chogyal Nyama's grandpa is invited over. He will lead the whole family to make prayer flags and pray for health for his 2 grandchildren.
쳐가지고 왜 뜸을 뭐
지대 정도
쳐가
그래 담을 거
제일 나간 거 뭐지?
틀마즈다 거
쳐가지고 더 쳐도 죽다.
그 뭐좀 야 방송 서버치가 됐어요 니마 차지 된적거든 사고르지 말로다 봐
Although machine-woven prayer flags can now be bought everywhere, Chogyal Nyama's grandpa believes that his handmade flags of homespun cloth printed with red clay show more sincerity. Most importantly, they are made of environmentally friendly materials that are biodegradable and can be completely absorbed by the grassland. After the summer holidays, Chogyal Nyama's little sister will start preschool, while Nyama himself will enter his last year of primary school.
야, 디라 손가락 제 조만 쇼다니 지쳐라다.
The Ragyal Monastery in Maching County is the largest temple of the Gelug school of Tibetan Buddhism at the source of the Yellow River. Its monks are known for creating exquisite sand mandalas. Today, they are outside gathering flowers to make the pigments required. Nartang Gyatso has an encyclopedic knowledge of the area's flora.
Oh yeah. That's samtoy onar dandanisa.
Besides this hill, the monks also need to travel to the mountains of Anye Ma Chun and Nyampo Yutse to collect flowers. Informed by years of experience, they collect in different regions and seasons flowers in 5 colors for the creation of their sand mandalas. Before picking, they drive away insects on the flowers and try to pick petals without damaging the plants themselves or the soil below. They follow these rules whatever the weather or terrain. A sand mandala is produced with fine sand, an important source of which is natural white rock. After the rocks are collected, the monks pound and grind them into granules by hand. They constitute a large portion of the material needed. Precious stones such as pearl, agate, red coral and turquoise are also pounded and ground into powder to make sand. When all the materials have been milled into powder, the monks add water for them to precipitate and then drain and dye them. The final result is usually only about a fifth of the volume of the raw materials used to create it. It is this that will be used to lay out the sacred design. The flowers collected by the monks, arranged in order by color, have been sun-cured. They will be used to make the colors needed for sand mandalas. Liquor yielded by boiling the flowers will serve as dyes. As an expression of their sincerity, and to ensure that the sand mandala will eventually return to nature, the monks of Raghya Monastery insist on making pigments by hand in a traditional way. Next, it's time to color the fine sand. This step requires the liquor to be thoroughly blended with the fine sand and evenly stirred. When the liquor is completely absorbed by fine sand, the sand will then be dried again and pounded. Generally, a sand mandala has 5 basic colors: blue, yellow, red, green, and white. In Tibetan Buddhism, they correspond to the 5 great Buddhas. Besides white, the other 4 colors are segmented into deep, medium, and shallow tones. In total, more than 10 colors need to be produced, including black. Now work can begin on the sand mandala. The first step is to outline a geometric framework of precise structure and proportion. Then the previously pigmented sand is used to create patterns. The creation of the mandala starts from the center. In Tibetan Buddhism, this is the place for Sakyamuni, the founder of Buddhism. Surrounding him are all beings in the world, revealed layer by layer, symbolizing the radiating benevolence of Buddhism. In Tibetan Buddhism, a mandala is the residence of Buddha. Usually, it takes 5 to 7 days for dozens of well-trained monks to make a sand mandala. The completed piece will be presented to the faithful at a Dharma assembly. Finally, it's time to complete the cycle. When it is time, the monks will destroy their sacred work with the same devotion with which they created it. The sand mandala is gone. Its separate bright colors have been mixed into a uniform dull brown. This is swept into a piece of cloth and carried to the side of the Yellow River, one of the 3 great rivers originating in Sanjiangyuan. Finally, the sand is scattered into the torrent and washed downstream.